The battle reaches its climax as Gerlei gathers an immense amount of power in the air. She dives towards Lu Sheng, screaming a final challenge, asking if he can possibly withstand her next attack. On the ground, Lu Sheng braces himself, his body flaring with a brilliant golden aura. Their powers collide in a spectacular explosion of blue and gold energy, and Lu Sheng is seen gritting his teeth, straining to block the overwhelming force of her assault. The tide of the battle seems to have decisively turned. In the crowd, spectators who had bet on Lu Sheng cry out in despair, convinced their champion has lost. In their private viewing box, Lu Sheng's family and friends, his mother, father, Snowy, and Xing He, watch in absolute terror. Their faces pale with worry as they grip the railing, fearing the worst. Floating above the devastation, a victorious smirk spreads across Gerlei's face. She thinks to herself that the fight is finally about to end. With a triumphant roar, she unleashes her ultimate technique, the destructive blue demon flame, sending a colossal wave of annihilating energy crashing down upon the arena. The attack impacts with cataclysmic force, creating a massive pillar of destructive energy that shatters the ground below. As the smoke and dust from the explosion begin to clear, Gerlei's triumphant expression vanishes, replaced by one of utter disbelief. She stares down at the empty crater where Lu Sheng should have been, her eyes wide with shock. She stammers, unable to comprehend what has happened, realizing that somehow he had managed to dodge her attack. Just as Gerlei processes her shock, a calm voice speaks from behind her. It's Lu Sheng, and he informs her that he didn't dodge the attack completely. He stands amidst the dissipating blue energy, his clothes slightly torn, but his body completely unscathed. Gerlei's eyes widen in pure disbelief. She questions how it's possible that he doesn't have a single scratch on him, wondering if this is the legendary defensive power of the immortal bloodline. Refusing to accept this reality, she grits her teeth and screams that this isn't her limit. She declares that she must defeat him and begins to gather her power for another assault. However, Lu Sheng simply holds up a hand, calmly telling her to wait. He then begins to explain a profound concept, stating that everything in the universe has a dark side, including flames, which are often thought of as representing only light. He continues, applying this philosophy to her power. He explains that her blue demon flame represents the dark side of fire, and thus produces the opposite effect of normal flames. His explanation only confuses and angers Gerlei. She demands to know what he means and what her family's ancient power has to do with him. She scoffs at the idea that simply understanding the nature of her bloodline's power would be enough for him to counter it. Lu Sheng responds with a calm, knowing smile, agreeing with her. He clarifies that understanding and truly deciphering something are two very different paths, with a long journey between them. Still wary and confused by his strange lecture, Gerlei demands to know what he is trying to say. Lu Sheng looks down at his hand and then back at her, his expression serious. He finally reveals his true motive, explaining that he is simply very interested in the blue flame of her lineage. That, he confesses, is why he couldn't help but study it carefully while they were fighting just moments ago. Gerlei listens, unimpressed by Lu Sheng's explanation. With her eyes glowing, she skeptically asks him what his point is. His strange behavior is not lost on the audience, who grow restless and hostile. Spectators begin to shout, questioning what he is trying to do and demanding that he either continue fighting or get out of the arena. The crowd's frustration boils over as they yell that they paid for tickets to see a fight, not to listen to him talk. They tell him to fight if he can win or surrender if he can't, making it clear they have no patience for his perceived stalling. The announcer picks up on the crowd mood, offering his own commentary. He suggests to the audience that it seems the immortal bloodline holder, Lu Sheng, has lost all hope of victory and has resorted to employing other, more indirect tactics. Just as the sentiment in the stadium turns completely against him, Lu Sheng looks down, a serious expression on his face. He calmly states that because of what he has learned, this battle can now come to an end. In the next instant, he clenches his fist, and a colossal surge of brilliant golden energy erupts from his body, flooding the arena with overwhelming power. Gurley can only stare, her eyes wide with utter shock and disbelief as she witnesses this sudden and terrifying transformation. Wreathed in crackling embers and flames, his eyes now glowing a fiery yellow, he extends his hand towards her.
He tells her that he supposes he should now show her the brighter side of the light. With a final, powerful declaration, he clenches his fist and announces the name of his true power, 10 perfect martial arts. Lu Shang unleashes the full extent of his power. A colossal pillar of pure, fiery golden energy erupts from his body and engulfs the entire sand, reaching high into the sky. The light is so blindingly intense that the spectators are forced to shield their eyes, screaming that it's an absolute, incomparable brilliance, like staring directly into a star. Even Lan, who is closest to the sand, is forced to look away, overwhelmed by the sheer power and light. From within the heart of the fiery inferno, a new form takes shape, a majestic and colossal fire phoenix, its body made of pure, stellar flame. The explosion of power is so immense that it is visible from space, a brilliant star of light shining from the planet's surface. The massive fire phoenix then descends back into the arena, its immense fiery form looming over Lu Shang as if answering his call. As the phoenix descends, Lu Shang does not attack with it. Instead, he allows his overwhelming fiery energy to be absorbed directly into his own body. The power transforms him. A glowing golden symbol appears on his forehead, and his hair begins to burn like a living flame as he levitates into the air. From the stands, Lan can only stare up at the transformed Lu Shang, completely speechless and in awe of the power he is witnessing. Floating in the air, his body wreathed in divine flames, Lu Shang turns to Lan and tells him to pay close attention. With ultimate confidence, he declares that this is the true power of the immortal bloodline. With a simple, sweeping gesture of his hand, Lu Shang unleashes a colossal wave of pure, stellar fire that crashes down upon Guai Lei. Her face twists in absolute terror, and with a desperate cry, she throws up her hands in a defensive posture. She summons the full extent of her power, shouting the name of her technique, the Blue Flame Crystal Fortress, and erects a massive wall of shimmering blue crystal to block the incoming attack. However, her defense proves futile. The immense power of Lu Shang's flames instantly causes the crystal fortress to crack, and in the next moment it shatters completely, leaving her exposed. Guai Lei can only watch in horrified disbelief as the unstoppable wave of fire continues to hurtle towards her. The flames engulf her completely, and she lets out a final agonizing scream. As she is overwhelmed, Lu Shang's voice echoes, reminding her of his earlier warning that if she wished to test the immortal bloodline, she had to be prepared to shed blood. The immense power of the attack leaves her completely incapacitated. Her body is singed, her eyes are rolled back into her head, and she is left in a dazed, defeated state as she reverts to her normal form. The battle is over. Lu Shang appears behind the defeated Guai Lei, gently placing a hand on his shoulder. He looks down at her and calmly comments that it appears she did, in fact, prepare herself well. Lu Shang removes his hand from Guai Lei's shoulder, and she collapses to the ground, completely unconscious. The entire stadium is plunged into a stunned silence. On the large holographic screens, spectators from Guai Lei's home sector are shown looking on in absolute disbelief, questioning how their champion could have possibly lost. The rest of the audience is equally bewildered by the sudden and shocking turn of events, wondering how the battle could have ended so abruptly. The announcer is also left momentarily speechless by the outcome. He stammers into his microphone, marveling that the entire battle was decided in a single, overwhelming blow. Finding his voice, he then roars with renewed energy, officially declaring the winner of the match. A massive holographic sign appears above the arena, proclaiming Lu Shang from the Sub-Jupiter sector as the victor. In the arena, Lu Shang stands alone, his expression calm and composed after his decisive and spectacular victory. This video ends. If you guys want to see the next part, then don't forget to subscribe to our channel.